Greetings, people. Welcome to episode 2. Another special guest I have today with me. Life in Gambia. Powerful book. How to market and sell your book, a guide for beginners. And experiences of living across Africa. Brother, salute. Thank you for coming on today, taking the time out. Not just taking the time out, taking the interview serious, preparing for it, and just the conversations even before. Just thank you for your time, and everything happens in its time. I know we probably should have felt to ourselves, we should have met years ago. I had this connection, everything by God's time. So yeah, thank you for coming on and thank you for your works. Makonnen Sankofa.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be on the show, man.
Brother.
Glad to be here.
Brother. Yeah. Introduce yourself to the people, man. I know about you. Tell them a bit about your journey, what got you into writing, and before we go into the other stuff of what you do, just what got you into writing and what brought you to this industry of books, this powerful collection of work you have here.
Okay, so greetings everyone, and yeah, thanks again, Robin, for having me. So, in terms of my journey as an author, you mentioned I'm an author of 4 books. Mm-hmm. The first book that I wrote is The Rise of Rastafari, Resistance, Redemption, Repatriation. It's actually my best-selling book. I originally released that book in 2019. There's a revised edition which was released in 2022. And my journey in becoming an author was, I wanted to get the message of the clarity, for people to understand the Rastafari movement and the history. Because when a lot of people, what comes to their mind when they think of Rastafari, a lot of them think of, dreadlocks, someone smoking ganja, Bob Marley. So I wanted the people to understand, that it's a serious movement, and particularly to understand the black liberation, aspect of Rastafari and why the movement originally started, and to tackle some of the misconceptions that people have. So with this book, initially when I wrote it wasn't a book that some people write a book, because they just want to make money, whatever. It was just something that was there to me, myself being a Rasta. I wanted to, to get people to know, the true history about it. So inside the book, if I can talk about what's the contents of the book, it highlights, what Rastafari is. Now, also there's different groups within Rastafari, right? So, you have Boba Shanti, you have 12 Tribe, you have Naya Bingi, and you have people that individuals don't believe to any particular houses or mansion, and even other groups, So what it does, it covers the different mansions, but then it also, covers, people who's different ideologies. So I try to be fair and grounded, because you can speak to one person and they'll say, this is what Rasta is, and another person, his view might be slightly different. So it basically clarifies, what is Rastafari, and the way that I identify it in the book and explain it, Rastafari is it is a black nationalist and pan-African movement that has a spiritual nucleus. I mean, the purpose of the movement is to uplift black people socially, politically, spiritually, culturally, and economically. It's about liberating the minds of black people, because we've been taught to think about ourselves due to subjugation and brainwashing that has been imposed on us over the last 500 years, coming from slavery, colonialism, and cultural imperialism. And in terms of the movement, it really emerged in the 1930s in Jamaica, following the coronation of Haile Selassie as Emperor of Ethiopia. And why that was significant, because, at the time, particularly in the Caribbean then, it was all about, worshipping, it's King George at the time, it would have been. And a lot of, even when a lot of people from the Windrush generation came here, they would have like the Queen of England or a picture of the King on people's walls. So it was very, particularly at the time, very revolutionary, because it gave, Haile Selassie is the Emperor of Ethiopia, but it gave, black people, particularly those of descendants of enslaved Africans in the diaspora, like the Caribbean, England, and you could say in America, a black king to look to, instead of always looking to, King George. So that was very symbolic, and it gave people to look at, instead of a concept of God, to look at a black concept of divinity as well, which was very, very important, particularly in that period of time. So again, it highlights what the movement is. Other things that it covers is the persecution that Rastafari has gone through. So in this country and in Jamaica, for different reasons, Rasta was being persecuted. One, first and foremost, for bringing forth an ideology, particularly at that time in colonial Jamaica. You're looking at the 1930s, not too far along from slavery times and all of those kind of things, to where it was still a colonial Jamaica, where people can still argue, Jamaica is still a colony today.
Yeah.
But because the Queen of England, the British Privy Council is still, the main court in Jamaica, and there's a Governor General in Jamaica. But what was meant to be, independence, which came in the 60s, you're talking prior to the 60s, still in the colonial years. And Jamaica then, it was very much, things black was, bad, things white were good. It was still in that colonial kind of mindset. So a movement like Rastafari was very revolutionary in terms of getting people to be proud of their African identity, looking towards going back to Africa, following on from the teachings of people like Marcus Garvey, Leonard Percival Howell. And it was really, for black people to be proud of our identity, be proud of our hair, our skin color, and to embrace Africa, whether that is physically going there or also spiritually in the mind, and saying that we have a king here. It's not about worshipping King George anymore. We've got our own king. If we are going to deify anyone, we have to look within for our own image of God in our own likeliness. So that's really what Rastafari is about. I can elaborate more, but the book talks on things such as you've got post-slavery and Garvey, the transatlantic slave trade, the emergence of Rastafari and Leonard Howell. Now, Leonard Howell, some people may know of him, some people may have not heard of him. Leonard Howell, he's accredited as being, the first Rasta. The early Rastas, they were called the Howellites. And, you had Leonard Howell, Joseph Hibbert, Archibald Dunkley, Robert Hines. And something that I mentioned in the book is Pinnacle. So a lot of people may not be familiar with Pinnacle, but Pinnacle was the most self-sufficient established, community, Rasta community in Jamaica. So you have Pinnacle. It's not something a lot of people know about, but they planted their own food in Pinnacle. They lived amongst the community, and that's something that I mentioned in the book. The emergence of Rastafari and Leonard Howell. You have the legacy of Haile Selassie that talks about His Majesty in Ethiopia.
Let me ask you a question, because I don't want to give too much away about the book, but just I know a lot of people would have liked to hear that, so I just shut off intentionally, but I don't want to give too much away on that book. As you're talking, I think of another book, The Resistance of Rastafari. I think it's behind you in the bookshelf. I can't remember the name of it, but it will be underneath, so I'll probably get it up during the break. If we get a break, I'll bring in the book. I was going to ask you, have you read that and was you inspired by that? Because I know that was a powerful book.
Rasta and Resistance, is that?
The Resistance of Rasta. Yeah,
Rasta Resistance. Yeah. I think that was a book I read. I read several Rasta books. I haven't read them like front to back but I've read some of it. Yeah. I think it was by correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was by Horace.
We'll find it before the end of the day. I'll find it. But yeah, man, I just wanted to know where your inspiration came from, because I've heard a lot about this book. It's powerful. I need to get me a copy. But yeah, it's a powerful book, and I've had a lot of powerful feedback from you. I've watched a lot of your interviews, webinar that you host, but we'll get back into that later. Which I'm blessed to be a guest on soon. It's an international webinar that you do, and a lot of people seem to know about the rise of Rastafari, and the reviews it seem to be very positive. So to be a Rasta at one time was perceived by the Westerners as like a radical movement, but it's not, it's a revolutionary movement. So I'm glad that you've cleared that up in writing a book which simplifies and explains, especially even the different houses. Because I was in prison in Jamaica when I was younger, and I used to hear so much arguments among the Rastas of the Christians, and I'll be in the cell crying and laughing. Like, you're dirty ballad, and you're fake Rasta, and I'll be in the cell crying up. But I didn't understand the history of Rastafari, and even now I'm not going to pretend that I do know about it, and that's why I'm interested to read books like yours, especially on the subject. So salute for this book. What's the types of feedback you got in terms of this book before we move on to another one of your books?
Well, The Rise of Rastafari, it's been amazing. As you mentioned, you've seen some of the feedback and the reviews. So let me start by saying on Amazon at the moment, it's got 96 reviews, 4.7 stars. The maximum you can get is 5. So to get 4.7 stars, on a topic like such as the Rastafari, where people are going to have, may have different views on it, and can be a bit controversial, and to have 96 views and get that kind of feedback is amazing. I've read the reviews and it's been very good. I've listened to elders in the community and other people that I know, and the general feedback is good. It has been very good. In a short answer, there's always going to be some that have different critique or different perspective on it, but I would say the general feedback that I've come across has been very positive.
I've definitely seen. Would you say it seemed like, I don't want to go into other books, but would you say, I believe, I don't know, The Rise of Rastafari might be your favourite book out of all the four? Is that fair to say? Out of all your four books?
I think it's probably the one most special to me.
Yeah, because it's just the one as well.
Yeah, and I just want to add something as well, because this isn't just a book for people who are Rasta to read it. And a lot of the positive feedback has been by Christians or people from different backgrounds, or not necessarily Rastafaris as well. But I just wanted to be very clear that this is a book for everyone to pick up and read it.
And to be fair, I think most books are supposed to be books for everyone to read. I think anyone, and this is why the book's called Don't Judge a Book by the Author. I want people to see that. That's the basis of the show, because I believe that people would see a book like that and judge it because they think, okay, it's got nothing to do with them. But yeah, this is you elaborating on it and give anyone who's from any background that information to say, okay, I can pick that up and read it. There's nothing that sounds like it's bashing other beliefs or anything else. So just you elaborating is why we're here today. I don't want anyone to judge a book by the author or by the title or by the theme, because we don't know what's in that book until we've read it. And that's the truth of the matter. So yeah, man, I just wanted to big you up on that book. But I had a feeling that was your favorite book. I just had a feeling, because I've heard you talk about the others, but the way you talk about that one, not that to say that it's your best in terms of writing ability, it's your personal favorite, and that's what I get a feeling from. So I'm just glad I was right out of one of what to get. Yeah. But that's so let me move on to another book, unless you want to say anything else.
Yeah, just say.
Obviously, I'll ask where they can get all your books. At the end, I'll ask where they can get all your books. But for now, if you want to add anything, feel free.
I'd say it's definitely been the most successful book, and in terms of
in terms of success, so what do you mean?
In terms of sales, and in terms of, I would say, the impact of people's feedback, like most people I know that have read it and contacted me. Although I've had people contact me about other books, but in terms of people contacting me about the book, for example, and giving me the feedback, and saying that even one person who read the book saying that it helped her on her journey to Africa, and in terms of helping people to gain greater knowledge, because although the book is about Rastafari, there's a lot in the book which is just relevant to things. Black history. It talks about Jamaican history, Ethiopian history. This country, UK. People like Marcus Garvey, Legacy Haile Selassie. So with the book, The Rise of Rastafari. Now, although the main theme of the book is about Rastafari, and the history of the movement and a lot of information pertaining to Rastafari, but there's different things that talks about the influence of Rastafari and reggae, the contributions that the Rastafari movement's made, the persecution Rastafari has faced, and a lot of the information in there, is, I would say, is just historical information. When you look at Jamaican history,
the fact that you included the persecution that Rastafari have had to face, because there's been a lot, and there's been a lot of misjudgment on who they are as people as well, because of the information being shared. So you've done a good work here. Just from before you read that, you've done a good work here. Because information is powerful, man. So yeah, credit to you on that. I forgot I was going to ask you about this book. I'm going to come back to this book. Can we go to experiences of living in Africa quickly, please?
Yes, experiences of living.
Oh, sorry, that's what I was going to ask. Give me this book, sorry. Have you been judged as a Rasta, as not being a Rasta for not having dreadlocks? That's a question that was
yes.
in my mind.
Yeah.
What's the type of feedback you've had when you've gone to sell this book and you ain't got dreadlocks?
A lot of people have been intrigued. Like, for example, some people who don't really know about the movement anyway, so that, they just buy a book and support, especially when they hear me speak. Some people have been intrigued, like they've been like, they thought, because I don't have dreads, I'm not a Rasta. But not to say that like, it's a bad thing or anything wrong, but they've just been intrigued. Oh, you don't have dreadlocks, but you're a Rasta, so they're more kind of intrigued.
Oh, so there's none of that ignorant prejudgment of you're not a Rasta and you can't be talking on this subject.
I haven't really had that. I mean, I've had I've had it on a rare occasions, but I would say they're probably minimal. The most of it has been positive.
That's pretty cool. Well, let's get on to book number 2. I don't know which order it came actually. Which is book number 1? Is that book number 1?
Yeah, it's book number 1.
And this is book number 2.
Yeah. No, sorry. The book number 2 is Life in Gambia.
Then let's go to book number 2. Let's do it in order. I would have thought that is book number 2 because it's the same. It would have come that's book number 3. Then I'm guessing.
This one, book number 3 is the marketing book. Book number 4, my latest book is Experiences of Living Across Africa.
Go to that one now. So this is Life in Gambia, the Smiling Coast of Africa. When was this published?
That was published, I think it was 2021. That was published. It was
2021. Cool. Gambia is one of the most popular destinations to travel in Africa. Its hot weather, beautiful beaches, rich culture, and friendly citizens make it the ideal holiday locations for many people. There is also a growing influx of people of African heritage born in the diaspora who have either relocated permanently to Gambia or they have plans to move there in the future. Author Makonnen Sankofa has been to Gambia 3 times. In 2019, he spent 6 months living in Gambia. In this book, Makonnen gives insight into his experience of Gambia. Makonnen's journey is from the perspective of a person who has African Caribbean heritage that was born in the diaspora. During Makonnen's time in Gambia, he connected with his African roots and explored opportunities available in Gambia. Highlights of Makonnen's experience included learning about Gambian culture, spending time with the locals, visiting the villages, going to a wedding, teaching in the schools, filming and editing videos for Black Seed YouTube channel, big up Black Seed YouTube channel, and meeting the movers and shakers of Gambia. Life in Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. Yeah, tell us about this book, King. But Life in Gambia, because yeah, a lot of people, there definitely has been a rising influx. A lot of people have been going to Gambia. I don't know if they've been going for the right reasons, but I definitely see that you have been going for the right reasons. Because I know a lot of people haven't. So I'm grateful that you've done this to explain. But yeah, please, in your own words, tell us about Life in Gambia.
Okay, so Life in Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. The reason I've called it the smiling coast of Africa, the subtitle was the smiling coast of Africa, is because the people there, the hospitality they gave me, the people are so friendly and kind.
Isn't that what they called it though? I thought that's what they called it. That's just what everyone calls Gambia, the smiling coast.
Yeah, because it's nicknamed because of that. Yeah. So that's why I chose it. So you're right. Yeah. So I chose to name it the Smiling Coast of Africa because that's the nickname of what it's called, and the reason is because the kindness of the people and the hospitality, and I can testify, which is why I'm testifying for that. So that's why I decided to call it Life in Gambia, the Smiling Coast of Africa. And as I was saying, there's so many examples of the way that I was, treated by the Gambian people. They were very receptive towards me. And I can think of one time in my head now. I'm thinking of an example. It was during rainy season, and it was raining very heavily, and it was all waterlogged, full of water. I got a taxi. I needed to get on the other side of the road to my apartment. This taxi driver, he stopped across the road, says we can't go any further because it's flooded. But he offered, and you've seen how big I am. Yeah. He's offered. Don't be fooled because I'm sitting down if you're watching this on camera. I'm actually a very big guy. So I got up, and the guy's probably about half my size, and he's offered to carry me, across the water. Across into my apartment. I didn't let him do that because I was like, no, we'd fall on the floor, and I would fall into the water. But those are just the kind of kindness. He could have just said, he's a taxi driver. Okay, I'm done. I can't go over there because the water, the car can't drive into that area because it's flooded. But those kind of examples, there's several other examples. You can go anywhere in the Gambia. You can go places, and people will just ask you, do you want something to eat? And I've had this happen to me many times where, they're not wanting anything from me. They're not asking for money, but they're just saying, come eat with us, because they do communal eating over there. So it's common for them to have a big bowl together, and then everyone basically, some people will eat from the hand, some people eat from a spoon, and then, they eat communally. So that's something common. Another thing I really liked about the hospitality of the people is, just the sense of, the community as well. Like, if you're walking down the street, people say hello, you know who your neighbours are, etc. Obviously in England, you can live next to someone for, 10 years, 5 years, you don't really know your neighbour. Some people might not even really say hello to them. So I felt that the society in terms of community and also family. I like seeing, a lot of the family structure I thought was very much in place in the Gambia. So, seeing a lot of black families together, and, even the children, they will come up to you and say, hi, uncle, if it's a woman, hi, auntie, and, those kind of values that I feel that was in place. So, what I would say, to the people of the Gambia, I think they gave me, it was a great introduction to me, to go to Africa, and it was a good experience. Something you mentioned is my time when I was working with Blacksit YouTube channel. So I can elaborate on that if you want me to, or do you want to come back?
No, I'll come back to Blacksit channel afterwards. Yeah, when I talk about experiences of living in Africa, I'll come back to Blacksit. Talk about Blacksit YouTube channel, and but you can mention whatever you want to say. No problem.
Okay, so with Blacksit, I mean, during the time that I was in the Gambia, when I was there in 2019, for about 3 or 4 months, I was working with a lady called Juliet Ryan. Juliet Ryan is the founder of Blacksit YouTube channel. Well, actually, Woda Maya is a famous YouTube vlogger. He came to Gambia and established the YouTube channel for Juliet. I started working with Juliet, from pretty much almost the inception. So I was the video editor and the videographer, and I uploaded the videos. And that YouTube channel, what we did is we showcased a lot of people's journey of people that had, moved from the diaspora. So, people that have moved from, black British people, African American from the Caribbean to Gambia, why they're here. A lot of them are set up hotels, restaurants, businesses of some kind. We also, interviewed the local people to show people what day-to-day life's like in the Gambia. So we went to a medical facility, people that sell property, property developers. We showed some of the housing that they've got. It was like the who's who. We got to meet, people close to the president. In fact, we went to the president's brother's naming ceremony. We interviewed the president's nephew. So, the managing directors of a company. I used to always watch TV.
President's that Yaya, the one that come from
Adam Barrow,
the one that came after Yaya.
Yeah.
So, because when I was in there, I think I've gone to Gambia maybe before you was there then. I think 2016 or 2017, because the president before was Yaya. And when I was there, we was in lockdown. That was a great experience. Big up Gambia, big up Ebsin, big up everyone I know. Big up Pa. Uncle Pa. Big up everyone, because big up Jason Roche, rest in peace, big bro, Crimson, Ren, Mark, Ren Calendar, who brought me to Holly Street, all of Holly Street, but my bigger brother, spiritual brother, who brought me to Africa 2016 or 17. That's the first time I've ever touched African soil, but it was his motivation. I never thought of Gambia as a traveling site. There wasn't a book that you've done now to people were talking about Gambia as much in 2016. So when I've gone there, I didn't really feel anything to go there for. But when I've gone there, I've seen a lot that opened my eyes. The Fuller tribes, the Mandingo tribe. I just spoke with a lot of the people, even went into the bookshops. But it was just experiencing because I know there's a beautiful side, and I'm scared to romanticize Africa, because I don't want to do that at any given time. When I was there was politics about Yaya being there. Some people wanted him out, and some people didn't want him in. They were scared that this new president from Holloway Road, who worked in August, is going to come, and they were petrified because they're like Western. And I don't want to get too political, but there's still, whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But I was a part of the lockdown regime, so we had to go into lockdown. So I was with the local people, and they said if we're not, by midnight, basically a war may start equal. Soldiers were, troops were parked up from Nigeria and all over Africa ready to take this president out. I'm like, this is my first time in Gambia. So if I was to talk about life in Gambia was actually mad. I remember we was in a mansion, and they said that we was meant to return. I'm not saying the story properly because only talking to you I'm remembering. We was meant to return back to UK, but because I didn't have the same hotel and flight booked together, I was a priority. So when I've come back to the airport, Banjul, I think it was. Banjul?
Yeah, Banjul Airport, yeah.
Couldn't remember, not being funny, I saw a whole heap of white European people. I was like, right, I never saw these hills full up with European people. I was like, where's the black people? I was like, as much as we say we're doing it, I was like, yeah, we may be, and I don't doubt we are, but you probably go there now, there's probably more white people traveling to Africa than any parts of Africa. And that's why I say I don't want to romanticize it. When I say traveling, it's not like I don't think we should all travel, but we're not in a position to invest in the same place which we was oppressed from. And sometimes I see that, and I was hurt. My first experience wasn't hurt by Gambia, just by the way Africa is run, and how I'm seeing Dutch, I'm seeing all types of European people at the airport, and they're getting treated better than me. And when we're at the airport, they don't even like the sight of me. So there's a flip side.
Unfortunately, you'll come back because that treatment isn't necessarily just in the airport. It could be at the hotel, the restaurant.
I'm not saying this at the airport. What I'm saying to you is that the idea of romanticizing Africa can be dangerous. I don't like from Gambia. There's a positive, and I don't mind being the pessimist or the person who looks at the negative coin. But I don't want people to be sold on a dream that Africa, and that goes to the whole Africa, is this beautiful place, because you still experience racism in it, or you still feel certain things. If you're woke, I don't like the word woke, but if you're conscious, you'll feel certain things and be like, right, that didn't feel good. And yeah, you can go and invest in your own businesses and all the rest of it. But when I was there during lockdown, I saw that I wasn't a priority in my own land. And that's when I got frustrated, and I thought, hold on a minute, cool, I'm not European, I'm black. Let the war start, I'm going home. Home is Gambia. I went back to the mansion, I built a spliff, I was with the man them, I was with some of the locals, they were petrified, some of them were saying it's gonna start, some of them were saying nah, he will leave. It was a big argument, it was pitch black, smoking weed in lockdown. What's it called lockdown? What's it called? It's not called lockdown, I forgot what the word is. It's not called lockdown, but all the shops are closed, everything was closed. So yeah, smoking weed in the thing. Well, now it's 12 o'clock coming, all down work, I was joking for most of the day. And then 12 o'clock coming in, thought, can we hear a gunshot? What's going on? Because they're saying that they don't even trust the eco. It's not like the soldiers are gonna come and just attack the president. The fears were they were gonna attack the people. So the people was actually scared because there's corruption in every part of the world. So they were gonna probably be scared of the women getting raped. A whole bunch of things I was hearing from the locals. I'm like, all right, this is mad. This is my first time to get on it. But it doesn't, because I've been through so much, it wasn't traumatic for me. For the people at the airport, they were traumatized. There was a couple sisters that I met from Birmingham, I'm still friends with them now. They offered me a flight. Everyone was panicking. I pushed them to the front of the queue, so I met them, these three sisters. Big up Paige, big up Aisha, big up Leanne. I pushed them to the front. I said, no, you lot can catch the flight. I'm going home. They said, no, this mean that flight goes Manchester. I don't live near Manchester. I'm not rushing to get home. I'm not scared of my own people. If there's a war, there's a war. And it's when I realized at the time I didn't even know I was half Syrian. I'm like, I don't care, I'm going back. We went back. Best 2 days of my life before we had to return. That's all I can say to you. Because even when the new president you're talking about came in, some people was angry because they thought it was going to be westernized. And say it blunt, they're scared that Africa is going to be homosexual, it's going to be a country where they introduce this gender thing. Like there are African people that have these fears, might not be talked publicly on most platforms, but people are too PC, but that's what they were scared of. They could have westernized this country, have it rain, but that's what their fears were. Let's have an honest conversation. So there was balanced things. So and that's the debates we were having. I was like, right, is that what's going on? Some people want them to stay. So when I've gone the next 2 days, I've realized, right, my people are still at the bottom of the chain in terms of people can come to their country, travel there, but they will still suffer if a war was to break out. Even though it didn't break out, they're still not in a position to protect themselves. Some people were getting on the boats. It was quite technical. I just don't talk about it because I probably never, it's only talking to you where I've ever deeped it. It was quite technical. People were getting on the running to Senegal or Gambia, Senegambia. Is it Senegambia? People were getting on the boat to Senegambia, right next to Gambia, to get the hell out in case the war kicked off.
That'll be to Senegal, yeah.
Senegambia or Senegal. I think it's called Senegambia?
Senegal. Senegambia is the part in Gambia. So Senegal,
you have to get a boat to get there. No, not the country. There's like a ferry. It's not Senegal. I'll find out. But it was like, it wasn't Senegal.
Barra?
No, I don't think it was Barra. But anyway, they have to get on a boat and go somewhere. And I was like, right, why are me and the guys I'm with not taking it serious? Big up Jason Roach. I have to say this, big up Roachy. He does Gambi Fest out there and puts in those events. So he's told me to come out there But he wasn't phased by all of this. He was like, no, Trav, yeah, what you say? And it's only because everyone was taking it so lightly. It's only when I came home, I hadn't spoke to my mum for years. And I made a phone call. I said, Mum, you've been watching, because people were phoning me like, you watching the news? I'm like, no. They're like, we ain't got news like that. Rob, you got to come back. I'm like, come back, wait. That's when I first heard it from people in England. I was like, they're like, war's going to kick off again. I'm like, whoa. So I phoned my mum, I spoke to her for years. I'm like, Mum, hope you're good. I don't know what's going on back home. I left a message, but I heard it's going to go left over here. So whatever happens, I love you. Just know that's what you understand. Because I actually thought, right, it could go left. If it goes left, it is what it is, bro. Yeah. So I'm letting you know, we had two different experiences in life in Gambia. But it's only you, not even earlier talking. It's only talking to you now, looking at the flag. Sorry, I wanted to mention. I love the flag of the cover of your book. I only clocked what you've done just now. Dope. It's only looking at the flag reminding me of the airport, reminding me of everything that I experienced. So thank you for this book. And I don't want to talk down about Gambia. I had the greatest time. The only thing I was vexed about is that they still made us come home earlier because of this war situation. So I came home, they made us stay an extra 2 days for those who didn't have the hotel and flight booked together. So, but then we all, because we were British citizens, there wasn't a choice. I would have stayed for the remainder of my time.
Can I just add something? So I think when you went there was a particular time, you know, where it was a bit of political instability, it was a turmoil. So that's not necessarily going to be everyone's experience because of the time you went. Yeah. So I just want to be that.
No, you don't need to make that clear. I'm making it clear. Gambia is not a war country. Yeah. They're not known for beef. Gambia, that's why it's called Smiley Coast. Any other part of Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana. Ghana's probably nice at this improvement, but there's places which are way more violent. That's why Gambia is this. It's not just because of that. It's Smiley Coast because there's less violence. Like if you look at the crime rate, Gambia to South Africa, it's a different ball game. So I know, not just me. That's just what I'm trying to explain to you. Even the people know. They were like, no, he's going to leave. There will be no war. Gambia is not a war country. So he will leave by midnight, but I don't think he left at midnight. I think he left I don't know when he left, but I remember everyone thinking, right, my money, like that was the initial. I think he did leave that, maybe went under, I don't know what he did. But so, and he had his private plane at the airport as well. I remember seeing that when I left. So, but yeah, I see him drive past us. So imagine like we're in, I can't remember Borussia. I can't remember the name of the area.
Bushby.
Anyway, I was in Bushby, and the guy's driving past, and I'm saying, who's that? I'm like, yeah, that's the president. I'm like, what? Big up, the man just drive through cash like that. And like, that's me, I'll big up my man. I didn't even know who he was, but I was just like, yeah, this is my first time in Africa. And like I said to you, my experience wasn't a negative one. I'm not saying that story to say it was negative. I'm saying it's only looking back and like, right, that was mad. But in the moment, that's my first time to Africa as a whole. And I was like, you know what? This is, I don't know, man, it felt right. I went to Konakeni village. By myself, I had an emotional experience, very emotional experience. Like I didn't think I could feel like that. And then I came back upset, and I wasn't staying as a tourist. I was with the villagers, Uncle Pa in the mansion, and I was upset. I said, "You lot sold us into slavery. I didn't want to believe that. You lot actually." And he's like, "Who told you that?" I was like, "I just come from the place, the museum." He said, me and you will go country. So the next day, me and them went country. I wasn't a tourist in Gambia. I lived a different experience. We drove, God knows where, I can't tell you where. Met the elders. They're telling me, we didn't, how do you think slavery stopped? I said, I don't know, how did it stop? They said, the whole West Coast was us killing the Europeans for trying to, they said they were going to stop slavery, they didn't, the Spanish or something, and we had to kill them. That's why the river was called something, it was a lot of bloods in that river. So I'm like, it's not everyone sold everyone to slavery. Why would we, you understand? So I'm like, we've never heard the story from this perspective. Gambia was amazing for me. Like that's probably why I don't talk about it in terms of the madness, because it wasn't that covered the holiday. It was everything that you said. The people, the energy. We are Caribbean, but we are probably of the West Coast descent. There's going to be a spiritual connection. Do you understand? So I don't know what I felt or what you felt. It's probably the same thing that draws us all. I'm never going to put down Gambia as a country. It's just,
I can just add, I mean, in terms of the culture, I like it. You know, they like the reggae music, the atmosphere. You know, the hot weather, the scenery. I liked, and it's a very peaceful country.
They love fish as well, right?
Fish? I like fish. Yeah, the fish.
Over there, I mean, they love fish and the fish is fresh and.
They've got many different fish there. But something that I want to touch on now, our experience with Gambia, and it's something that, based on what you said about how you felt, as someone at home, in Africa, and how we're looked at sometimes as diasporans, whether that is in the Gambia, what I felt in Gambia, in Ghana. I feel that, well, Tubab is what, the way, the term they used to call white people, yeah?
Country, Gambia.
In Gambia, yeah. In Ghana, it's a brony, but a brony can mean foreigner as well, yeah. But although, we are of African descent, going back home, a lot of people will still look at you as a brony or Tubab because you're coming from the West in those countries, unfortunately. And because they haven't been educated on, the history of the enslavement of the people, so they don't have the knowledge of it. So it's very sad though that we're coming back home, and then on top of that we're being seen as a brony or Tubab.
Yeah, but that's, to be fair, this is an old conversation. It's old, very old conversation. But it's good that you raised the point. For those who haven't had this, it's not just in Africa; it's in Caribbean. You go back to Jamaica. I've been in Jamaica. You're called English. No, I'm not English. It's an old conversation, an old argument, and it's probably from our parents' time or before, because when they were born here, it started from our parents' time. We're the second to hear the story. It's an Asian story. Our parents were the first born with Rush, were the second. So when they've gone home for the first time, they're being told they're English. Even those that was born there and come, it's an Asian story that we're not accepted in the diaspora by our own. The thing is that we do with that Asian information is take it, not just discuss it, use it to educate others, to explain to them why you're calling me Western, they're calling me nigger. And then when you go to places like South Africa, heartbreaking, I hear South African guys say to me, "Oh, what up, my nigga?" I said, "Bro, call me that again and I'll knock out your jaw." Because where I come from, my experience of hearing that words, it's not positive. And if you know your own history in the apartheid, maybe 20-something years ago, being a nigger wasn't cool. So there's just a lot of lack of information. This is why books are important, because to me, I've always wanted to start, and that's why I said I love what you're doing with the webinar, the international. I've always wanted to start a pen pal or book, what's it called? A book thing between the diaspora, Africa, Caribbean, UK, Europe, and even South America, North America, and have us writing so we can hear our own stories, because the real stories, industry is not designed to tell your real experience. That's why I don't like the industry. You have to be PC. You can't write about what's really like growing up in the UK as a black child and dealing with the NF, because they think you're radical. Whenever you tell the truth, you're radical, so your books get banned, innit? So if you're radical, then no one wants to hear you. So even in that Rasta book, some people would have judged it before, think, "Oh, I don't want to hear about that." Not because you wrote it, because they perceive Rastafarians as radicals. They're not radicals. That's why I said judge the book by people are judging it based on their own understanding of things. So the diaspora thing, I'm over familiar with, and it's not new information. It's that how do we now tackle the fact that there's a lot of Africans who, and it works both ways. So a lot, I said to you before, I said a lot of people are using the country for what they shouldn't be. And I'm going to say it now. A lot of men are going to Gambia to sleep with my sisters as if it's Ayanapa. A lot of people are seeing it as an opportunity for a cash cow just for self. Not that they can help out the locals. Just for self. And with all those mindsets, it's very westernized to me. So maybe they're not wrong when they're calling you the words that they're calling you. But then we flip the script. How are Africans treating us when we go there, or Caribbean? Seeing you as their opportunity, seeing you as you're British and you've got all this money. Huh? Come and live where I live and tell me if I'm living so good. I have more opportunities in terms of education to go college. Yeah, I know I'm not in a third world country, but you don't understand that, again, we're doing this podcast because black authors don't get seen. So I live in England, I've got it so easy. Why do I have to do my own podcast? Why do I have to do as a black author? Because you lot don't understand the black struggle. So again, it's about writing books, bringing them onto your thing, having these conversations with them. Your next book probably needs to be about what we're talking about now. You're the link. You're one of the links. You go to Africa regularly. Teach them what you've heard and show. Don't think you know us UK based on what you see on Top Boy or whatever TV shows you see. No. Let us educate you to our opportunities we have and the disadvantages. And then you can tell us yours. That's why so much people want to go back to Africa. Because if we were living so good in England, we wouldn't be on a mission to go back to Africa. So this is what needs to be translated between the people rather than everyone trying to use each other again like we did in slavery. I'll leave it there. they will be free. But yeah, let me go on to one of your other books because
Gonna
unless you want to add anything in life in Gambia, can I come back to that last, please? I want to read. Okay, it's up to you. If you want to talk on that one now.
Okay. I was going to bring it up because we're already talking about Africa.
Because I wanted to ask all the questions related to it after.
Okay.
I'll do that now then. We'll come to this one after.
Okay, the marketing one
Yeah,
thing on last,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Do it now. Hope the camera picks this up. Yeah, Crystal Experiences of Living in Africa. Nah, I love this title. I love this cover. I love the other Life in Gambia cover as well.
You know the Life in Gambia cover. I just want to add. You know, actually, I did this fully myself. I decided I wanted it to have the flag with the Gambia colour. So a couple of these pictures I actually took myself. This is one of the ones on the beach, and this one's on one of the roads in Gambia. The other two, you know, I purchased the copyright for them. But yeah, in terms of designing it, this was cover design by me.
Beautiful. Cool. This design at the cover I like. It's got that Lion King feel. Think about it, but yeah, experiences of living across Africa. It's got the, you know what it's got? You know the earth. You know, like I say, the earth, like the dust, like it looks sandy with the red type of floor. I don't even know what to call it. Is it mud? That's how you know I'm born in England. It looks like the floor. There's an area, and is it Bruceby? I said Bruceby. When the floor is just like dusty, like this type of orange. If that makes sense.
Like the colour,
yeah.
To me, well, the floor in general was kind of like
it's orangey.
Because it's not too far from this.
Let me see. Yeah, this
is the colour. Yeah, that's what you.
Yeah, and it's got that feel. The cover's got this feel. So yeah, I like the covers because they give the feel of it. If you've been there, you can connect with it. But yeah, sorry. Experiences of Living Across Africa. This is an anthology which highlights the experiences of people who live in Africa and others who have previously lived there. It's from the perspective of those who have moved to an African country from outside the continent and those who moved within the continent. Experiences of Living Across Africa contains articles by men and women from different walks of life. It features people such as princes, the son of a famous civil rights activist, those that assist in relocating to Africa, tour operators and guides, authors, media, experts, former students, and a retiree. This book is focused on 14 nations situated in different regions of Africa, north, south, east, and west. Though through reading this book, you will gain a better understanding of what to anticipate and consider when relocating to one of these African countries. This anthology is a great resource for people looking to move to Africa and for those eager to learn about the customs and cultures of different African societies. Additionally, this book can also be used by those searching for a place to visit on holiday. Experiences of Living in Africa. Tell us about your experiences living across Africa, but yes, more specific to the point. How would you compare Ghana to Gambia in terms of cost of living? Because you've lived in both, right?
Yes, I've lived in Gambia and Ghana.
So please tell us about, because you've actually lived Gambia, Ghana, and Wales.
Those are the two. I've been to Nigeria as well. I was in Nigeria for about 3 months, and I'll be going there soon. But when I was living in.
Wait, 3 months in Nigeria?
Yes, I was in Nigeria 3 months.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah,
but I hadn't. To be on this book, you had to at least live in an African country for at least 6 months. Because I wouldn't. Ghana I lived in 6 months. In Gambia, I've been there for over a year in total. But I've been there Gambia 5 times. Two times, different times. I lived there for like 6 months. So I didn't read about Nigeria, but also because it was a shorter period of time, that would not have been, probably included. Maybe when I go there and stay, live there for a longer period for the next volume, possibly. But in answer to your question about how do I compare Ghana to Gambia in terms of cost of living, I found things in Gambia are quite expensive. In fact, they were expensive, and a lot of the reason is because they don't manufacture a lot in Gambia. So a lot of things are being imported from abroad. So, obviously there's taxes on that and etc. So if you're going to a supermarket in Gambia, you could find something that you would find in the supermarket in England double the price in Gambia, or even sometimes more, or at least half on top of it. And that extends beyond supermarkets. It could be a pharmacy, it could be, anything you want to buy, furniture, whatever. So I did find things there were very expensive. Even internet, Wi-Fi, for example. Internet, I got in Gambia, it cost me probably about £45 a month, yeah. In Ghana, in comparison, the internet that I had, it was about £30, yeah, or even just under £30, and it would last me 2 months. Yeah, in Gambia, I would have to every month I would have to top up again. So that's one example. Also in terms of the fact because Ghana manufactures more products in Ghana, so even stuff like toilet roll that's manufactured in Ghana, for example, where you're going to pay more if you wanted that product in Gambia because they don't have manufacture as much. Drinks, there's more drinks that are manufactured in Ghana. So in short term, I think that depending on how you're living, you know, cost effectively, I think that when I was living in Ghana, I was spending less money on my cost of living. It obviously always depends on who you are, and Gambia. What I would say about Ghana, it can be expensive if you wanna, if you're gonna take an apartment in East Legon in a really expensive area, you can end up paying a lot of money, and if you're gonna buy again imports as well, even in Ghana, if you're going to buy certain imports which are very expensive. But I think that I was able to, based on how I live and my needs, etc., I found it more affordable for me in Ghana than in Gambia.
Ghana is more of a cheaper option. But what would you say the positives were? Some of the positives of both, and why you preferred one over the other?
But the positives that I can say about both countries is that peaceful. They're very peaceful. Low crime rate. I think I always say this, particularly for women, particularly single women. I think Ghana, is a because obviously it's different when you go to Africa.
Yes, man. Again, I feel like I'm romanticizing it, and I don't see what you like because it's something that a female said. But yes, sorry, a Ghanaian female said. But yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Okay, because the society is different in the continent. It's more patriarchal. But I think in terms of security, and I've spoken to women that have lived in Africa and say because it's different. Our experiences are different. It may be different than someone in their 30s versus a woman, in their 50s, or even a woman that's my age.
And that's important to do. So, did you explain that in this book? Did you give different perspectives? And you'd already said in the back there's different age groups.
Yes, yeah, and that's why I think it was very important. I'm glad you raised that because it is so important. As I said, different age groups, different gender, whether male or female. Even if you've got kids or not kids, that's a huge, going as a single person versus going with your whole family is a massive. So that's something I did cover in the book. Other things that I comparing the two, the beaches. I found the beaches in Gambia were beautiful. I felt that Ghana was more developed in terms of, and the way I say developed in terms of the infrastructure and buildings and modernization in that sense, a lot more. Gambia is developing. Yeah. So in that sense, even you could go when I was in Ghana, I was in Accra, the capital. I mean, some of it was more modernized than it is over here. In England, when you go to the supermarkets, or when you go to the shops or the restaurants, for example, they can match the restaurants that we have over here in certain places. So that's what I did, like about my time during in Ghana. And I went to several events when I was in Ghana. I went to book launches. So I went to to listen and to other authors and hear them and see them release their books. And the book launches that I went to, they were brilliant. In Ghana, when they have a book launch, it's it's a big thing. It's a big event. Everyone from the community comes together, and it's and they have different. They might have people singing, they might have people talking, and I really liked that. And at the end, they have highest bidder, who wants to pay X amount to get the book, and then they bring it down to whatever you want to pay in the end. But that's something interesting I had about my time. I went to the museum in Ghana, the National Museum, learned a bit about the culture and the history, and I was playing this game called Awari, which I thought was interesting as well. The markets, I enjoy going to the markets. In Gambia, there's a particular market I like called Serekunda Market. But I mean, anywhere you're going to go, there's going to be pros and cons. I think Gambia sticks out to me because of my experiences that I had in the Gambia and the people that I met there. And I've got a much bigger network in the Gambia. So, in terms of my lifestyle and everything, I preferred also the people in Gambia. I think in Ghana, the people are a lot more reserved. They're nice people as well, but they are more reserved. I thought they was a bit more guarded.
I'm hearing two things here. You preferred Ghana as location and for sufficiency. You preferred Gambia for the people and the way they treat you.
Yeah, and culture and things like that.
Cool. Yeah. The question that I wanted to ask you, but I'll let you finish, Karen. So I want to say I'm hearing both that you got different So there isn't really a frame, is what I'm saying.
No, I think you hit the nail. No, I think
Yes,
you, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
you.
really
What was I going to say? Yeah.
Yeah, what was I going to ask you next? Yeah, just carry on saying what you were saying, and I'll come back to the way I was. It's not even what I was going to ask you, it's how am I going to ask you? How am I going to word it?
Yeah, I feel that in Ghana, particularly in Accra, I think in Gambia people more open up to you more. I felt people a bit less outgoing in Ghana, unless it had something to do with them getting paid money from you. But I didn't have really problems in either the countries.
So I'm going to ask you two questions that I tried to. So the first one is that there's been a rise in influx, of course, of people going back, and you've got a chapter in this book which you talk about basically people who have lived there. So can you explain why you think there's been an influx, first and foremost, and what are some of the things people should consider when moving to Africa?
So to begin with the influx, that's definitely down to social media. And I mentioned I was part of Blagsit YouTube channel, particularly with the Gambia. A YouTube channel Blagsit, we inspired hundreds, thousands of people, to either visit or move to Gambia. As a result of it,
was this
that
when you did the Blagsit promotion?
It's still going on now, but it started in 2019. Yeah, it was like September 2019 when I was doing the videos. But it's still going. I'm still in contact with Juliet, the CEO of Blagsit, and the person, the presenter you always see
from
in the videos.
2019, you guys were doing videos and telling people, guys, come home. It's happening over here.
Showcasing the things in the Gambia, but I'm no longer. I just want to clarify that I'm no longer of the video editor cameraman of Blagsit there, but I was a key part of the foundation of helping the channel to develop for like about 4 months while I was there to begin with in the inception of it. So, but that, and those were particularly that period of time, that, and then soon after that, which really inspired a lot of people, because soon after that is when you had the COVID, and even though it was COVID, a lot of people still wanted to move to the Gambia. So, and obviously once lockdown ended, people still started going, and still going now. So definitely in terms of Gambia, it also inspired a lot of other YouTube channels to start, which other people have been inspired to travel to Gambia because of other YouTubers in Gambia. So specifically Gambia, I would say Blagsit definitely has helped to put the country on the map in some respects. In terms of Ghana, you have the year of return. So the year of return was in 2019. The president Nana, he was claimed
when people learn to come home from the Western world, America and everywhere else. Yeah, I understand Ghana's, but Gambia I didn't really understand because no one wasn't really offering them to learn to come home. So that's why I asked you the question.
Yeah, and I just want to say as well, there have been people before in Gambia pioneers. I don't want people to feel that I'm missing out some of the people that came before, because before Blagsit, there's still people that are raising awareness of Gambia. And you mentioned something earlier. You mentioned you mean to Kunta Kinte Island because
Is it island or village? Oh yeah,
the village Jufre and then there's the island. But many people would know the TV series Roots, which was basically based on the main character Kunta Kinte. Yeah, it was taken from the village of Jufre and then held in the island of Kunta Kinte Island. It used to be called James Island. So a lot of people are familiar with Gambia from that. Some people don't fully know roots, but don't know that that's...
Oh, they haven't put that connection together.
Yeah, haven't put that connection. Some people. But there were people before, that had been... people that I know in Gambia that had been, helping people,
Sorry to cut you. What's the name of the guy who wrote that book? I think it's his family on Conor Kelly. It's an American author.
Alex Haley.
That's it. Big up Alex Haley. Sorry, Frankie. I'm so rubbish with him. Big up Alex Haley. I just wanted to big him up while talking about
this. I think there's people like Shakina Chinadu for one.
Sorry, say that again?
Shakina Chinadu.
Chinadu, she does what? Say that again?
Yeah, she's helped people to relocate to the Gambia.
Okay,
that I know. In fact, I mentioned her because when I was relocated to Gambia, she actually helped find me my flat that I stayed in, and she helped me show me to the supermarket. And I know she's done similar things for others. So there's people like Agator's, husband and wife, Huey Rose and Angela Rose. So there are others as well, Mama Lily. So I just wanted to shout out those people and others as well that I may not have mentioned that, were there beforehand and been to Gambia as well. but not to deter the works that they're doing. But Blacksit definitely has inspired a lot of people to go there and to move to Gambia. Right, in Ghana, we're talking about the year of return. So the President Nana, he said, to descendants of enslaved Africans in the diaspora, African Americans, Black British, Caribbeans, but particularly I think he was aiming at African Americans. But he said, come to Ghana. It's 400 years, since the first slave ship was taken from Ghana, that land now known as Ghana. Come see your roots and etc. So that year of return, the call was answered by African Americans, Black British people of Caribbean heritage, and who then went to Ghana. Some of them have ended up staying and are still there now. Some of them have gone back to visited. Some of them have got plans to go to Ghana. Some are back and forth.
So yeah, before we go into your last book, I don't want to fast forward it too much. I also don't want to give away too much. Experiences of living across Africa. There's something about this book which I think I failed to mention, which I really like about it, having not read it, but just flicking through. You have experiences of other people from different parts of Africa giving their experiences of what it's like living across Africa. Are these people that have moved to different parts of Africa from Europe? Are these people from Africa have moved to different parts of Africa? If you want to just tell us a bit about that.
So in the book, it's an anthology book, so a compilation. So it has me talking about it covers me and my experience of Ghana and Gambia. But there are 14 contributors in the book in total.
14.
And they share their experiences of living in different African countries. Now, these are primarily descendants of enslaved Africans that were in the diaspora, African Americans, Black British, people in the Caribbean, then going, back to the land of their ancestors after 200-300 years. We do also have a few people in the book that were born on the continent that have moved from one African country to another African country, because I also feel that it's very important to cover that perspective as well. But I don't want to go too much into that, but if you read the book, there are some very, very prestige people that are in the book.
Don't give away too much. There's spoilers for nobody, but I definitely need to grab my hands on a copy of that book. So guys, people, when I read that book, I'm not going to give away too much, but I've heard a lot of things positively about experiences of living across Africa, and the fact that you've got 14 people as testimony comes from the people. I love books that come from the earth up, so you hear real life experiences. So thank you for covering all those people's experiences. But that's what I wanted to mention. Not your last book or your most recent, because that book was your most recent. But in terms of our conversation today, the last book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners. Where we at? A guide for beginners, how to market and sell your book. Yeah, tell us about this one. Obviously it's self-explanatory, but tell us from your perspective how to market and sell your book.
So the reason I wrote this book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners, as you know, I've got the platform, the International Book Show, and authors always coming on the platform. They come on it, most authors, because they want exposure of their book to an international audience, which what my platform provides. They want support with marketing and hopefully, to generate more sales of their book. I also do book coaching courses as well. So I wrote this book to really complement the courses that I do, and also as assistance for people that come onto my shows. It can be bought as a standalone, but I did have it in mind to do courses, and I have done, courses related. I've done different chapters, breakdowns individually, and then I've done the whole book. But if you want to buy it as a standalone, you can buy it as a standalone as well, because there might be some people that may not be able to afford to come on the course, or they just want to buy the standalone book. So I thought I'll also sell it as a standalone book. But basically, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners. There's a lot of advice and strategies that I've used as a best-selling author that can help people to market in and generate in more sales. So it talks about how to use social media, ways you can have conversations which can generate sales, even how to do, a book launch successfully, seeing yourself as an international author, as just, a local author, and selling to your friends and your family. So there's so much useful information in there, even down to how you can turn your book into a business. So How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners. Although, the primary target market is authors, probably newbies and aspiring authors, that don't know where to begin in terms of marketing. They may have just published a book, but they really in most need of help. But also, if you're a more experienced author and you want to learn how to maximize sales, that book could also be very useful as well. So, Experiences of Living Across Africa, a guide for beginners. I would say, for anyone looking to, generate more sales and market their book, it's an essential read.
People get the visual in their head.
Okay, so in terms of the book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners. Now, the courses that I do, let me just go on to this. The courses that I do, they focus more in depth on the chapters in the book. So the chapters in the book complement the course, i.e. they've got notes. But when I do the course, I do it on Zoom, and I do a screen share, and I'm interactive with the audience, and it basically, the courses are more in depth. So it shows people parts of the book I use, and I'll look at this particular chapter. But then when I do it on Zoom, it just elaborates it more in depth, and I show people physical examples. So when it comes to how to turn your book into a business, I will give examples of people that I know that this is how you can share your book into a business. So I might share the website, etc., show merchandise that they've sold, or various people that I know have found different ways how to turn their book into a business. I know people that have written cookbooks that are a chef. I know people that have, written books on fitness that are gym instructors. So the book is like a key to open the door to allow you, if it's obviously the business route, to complement your business, but it gives you a voice, to go on different platforms. I'm on this platform right here because, I'm an author. So, it allows you to open doors. I've been on so many radio shows, podcasts. Even before my platforms, I was, invited to go on so many different platforms. So, and get exposure that had not being an author. So the author should really use that to their advantage.
Definitely. Finally, where can people find you? That's what I need to know. And not just that, how can they get 2 more questions? How can they get on the course? If they need to get on the course, would it be through finding you on social media? Is there a website for the course? And where can people find you in general? That's what I wanted to ask.
Okay, so in terms of purchasing the books, they're on Amazon.
No, the books. Oh. We know that we've covered that, the books. In terms of the course.
Okay, the course.
The course, how can they contact you for the course? Is that something they contact you through your social medias if they wanted to go into the course? Yeah,
they can contact me by social media, or they contact me on WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay. So social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. They can either contact the International Book Show, which is my Facebook group, the International Book Show. If you want to also contact me directly, Makonnen Sankofa, so that's spelled Makonnen, Makonnen, and then Sankofa is spelled Sankofa. So they can contact me on Facebook and Instagram. They can also reach out to me on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, if they want to reach out to me, the number is +44 7943 178 117. Again, that number is +44 7943 178 117.
What can I say? Honor, thank you. Humbled. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap it up? Before I share my last thoughts, thank you. Grateful that we finally met. I know it's just the beginning of many things to come in whatever aspect, whether it's just talking on the phone or whatever it is. But thank you for doing your works, and please continue to do your works. I'm looking forward to the next 5 years of your work, what you produce, just from speaking to you. So Makonnen, bless you, brother. People, Makonnen Sankofa. Any final words, King?
I just want to say, it was a pleasure to be on your show. I thoroughly enjoyed it, to talk about my books. And, I just want to shout out a few people that have supported me on my journey, particularly with the International Book Show. So I have to shout out Joseph from Jimmy Asher Foundation. They've been one of the sponsors of the International Book Show from day one, supported me for 4 years now. So shout out to yourself, Joseph. Shout out to Nubian the Gist Books. She's a bookseller and someone I want to, would like to introduce you.
Sorry, Nubian
Nugis Books.
Nugis Books.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nugis Books. Sister Leggett. She's well known in the community. She goes to a lot of different markets and different events, and she sells, a lot of books by black authors. So, and she's a sponsor of the International Book Show. Again, supported me from day. And I've known her from even the times when I was in Luton. She used to come to events with her, with her.
Luton or London?
London.
Big up.
She used to be in Nottingham at one point, but she's known from London. But when I was in Luton, when I was living a period in Luton, and I used to be part of a group called Luton Black Men Community Group. Shout out to all of you from Luton Black Men Community Group. And she used to come to our events, and she used to take a suitcase from London and set up, on a table all her books. But she sells, books by black authors, particularly black authors in the UK. So that's someone that I probably will connect you with. Sister Leggett. Shout out to Sister Leggett.
Big up for the works.
Yeah. We have other people like Barty Durr. Barty Durr, she's a sponsor of the International Book Show. An author, she's got an amazing story about her time in Uganda. She's of dual heritage. She's half African, half Indian, but she talks about her experience and worth and what the challenges she went through being someone of dual nationality. And during at the time where Idi Amin expelled the Asians from the Uganda, and although she was seen as black because of she was dual heritage because she's half black, half Indian, but she was adopted by a Sikh Punjabi Sikh family. So it challenges her in her identity. But her book is really really good, and she supported me along the way. I've had Dr. Tamara Foley in USA. From Education for All Now and Garwell Publishing. Again, she's been a supporter of me, the International Book Show. She's recently released a book called Healing Hearts. Tolu A. Akinyemi from the Roaring Lion of Newcastle. And, he's supported the International Book Show for a long time. And he's a poet. He's written, I can't count how many books he's written, but he's written several books. He's up in Newcastle. He's a Nigerian born, but he's located in England now. And others as well that have helped me on my journey. There's too many people that I could mention, but I just wanted to don't feel away if I haven't mentioned you. But I thought those particular people, I just needed to give a shout out to you.
Man, shouts out to you finally, man. Makonnen Sankofa people, please lock in what's the word? Subscribe to his International Book Show. Subscribe to his webinar. I'll give you all the information for his social medias. Again, brother, blessing and thank you for having such an honor. And yeah, just thank you for coming here, man.
Yeah, man.
Big up my cousin Joe. I didn't want to say nothing while he was talking. My big cousin Joe. It's happened, innit? That's all I'm going to say because it's happened, innit? I know it was late. I didn't see certain things. I don't know where my brain's been. But yeah, we should have worked. We've made the connect now. So big up cousin Joe, Jimmy Asher Foundation, Rising Power. Everyone have a blessed week, and yeah, bless you, King. Thanks for being here. Thank you. It's been an honor. Blessing, man. Let's move forward.